The buzzing of my phone jolted me awake. I fumbled in the dark, my heart racing as I squinted at the bright screen. 3:17 a.m. Who could be texting at this hour? Mike's name flashed across the top, and a chill ran down my spine. I glanced over at my husband's empty side of the bed. He was working the night shift at the mall again, or so he'd said. With trembling fingers, I unlocked the phone and read the message. "Sorry, babe. Won't make it home tonight. Covering for Jim." My stomach churned. This was the third time this month he'd stayed out all night. I scrolled through his recent messages, my suspicion growing with each swipe. "Can't wait to see you again. Miss your touch. You're so beautiful." None of these were to me. I set the phone down, my hands shaking. The bedroom suddenly felt suffocating. I stumbled to the bathroom, flicking on the harsh fluorescent light. My reflection stared back at me, tired eyes and thinning hair that Mike never failed to point out. "You're being paranoid, Emily," I whispered to myself, but the knot in my stomach wouldn't loosen. A soft knock on the door made me jump. "Mom?" Kelly's voice called out. "Is everything okay?" I opened the door to find my daughter, bleary-eyed but concerned. "Sorry, sweetie. Did I wake you?" She shook her head. "I heard you get up. Is it Dad again?" The perceptiveness in her eyes made my heart ache. At 18, she shouldn't have to worry about her parents' marriage. I forced a smile. "It's nothing, honey. Go back to bed." Kelly hesitated, then said, "Mom, there's something I need to tell you about Dad." My breath caught in my throat. "What is it?" She bit her lip, looking torn. I saw him yesterday, at the coffee shop near the mall. He was with someone." "A coworker?" I asked, clinging to hope. Kelly shook her head slowly. "It was a woman I've never seen before. They looked close." The room spun around me. I gripped the doorframe to steady myself. "Are you sure?" "I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't want to say anything, but after seeing his text." She gestured towards the phone on my nightstand. I took a deep breath, trying to process this information. "Thank you for telling me, Kelly. We'll figure this out, okay?" She nodded, giving me a quick hug before retreating to her room. I sank onto the bed, my mind racing. After 20 years of marriage, could Mike really be cheating on me? I thought back to our arranged marriage, orchestrated by our parents who thought we'd be a perfect match. Mike, the charming janitor with big dreams, and me, the dedicated nurse. We'd made it work, or so I thought. The first rays of sunlight were peeking through the curtains when I heard the front door open. Mike's heavy footsteps echoed through the house. I steeled myself, determined to confront him. He appeared in the doorway, looking surprised to see me awake. "Emily, what are you doing up so early?" I held up his phone, my voice steadier than I felt. "Care to explain these messages, Mike?" His face paled, then quickly morphed into a mask of innocence. "What messages? You know I hate when you go through my phone." "Don't turn this around on me," I snapped. "Who is she?" Mike's jaw clenched. "It's nothing, just a friend." "A friend you can't wait to see again? A friend you miss touching?" My voice cracked, betraying my hurt. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration evident. "Look, Emily, it's not what you think. You're overreacting as usual." "As usual?" I stood up, anger replacing my sadness. "You mean like how I overreact when you constantly criticize my appearance? My thinning hair?" Mike's eyes narrowed. "Maybe if you took better care of yourself." "Stop," I cut him off. "Just stop. I want the truth, Mike. Are you having an affair?" The silence that followed was deafening. Mike's gaze dropped to the floor, and in that moment, I knew. My world shattered, leaving me standing amidst the ruins of our marriage, wondering how I'd ever put the pieces back together. The hospital corridors felt colder than usual as I made my rounds. My mind kept drifting back to Mike's half-hearted denials and the look in his eyes when I confronted him. I shook my head, trying to focus on my patients. They deserved better than a distracted nurse. "Emily?" Dr. Patel's voice snapped me back to reality. "Are you all right? You seem a bit off today." I forced a smile. "I'm fine, just a bit tired. What can I do for you?" He handed me a chart. "Mrs. Johnson in 305 needs her meds, and Emily, if you need to talk, my door's always open." I nodded gratefully and headed to Mrs. Johnson's room. As I administered her medication, she studied me with wise, wrinkled eyes. "Trouble at home, dear?" she asked softly. I hesitated, then sighed. "Is it that obvious?" She patted my hand. "When you've been around as long as I have, you learn to read people. Don't let it dim your light, honey." Her words struck a chord. How long had I been letting Mike dim my light? I thought back to the early days of our marriage. He'd been so charming then, full of big dreams. But as the years passed, those dreams never materialized. Instead, he bounced from job to job while I worked long hours at the hospital to keep us afloat. My shift ended, and I dreaded going home. As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed. A text from Mike. "Working late again. Don't wait up." I gripped the steering wheel, anger bubbling up inside me. How many nights had I heard that excuse? How many times had I rearranged my schedule to accommodate his ever-changing jobs? At home, I found Kelly in the kitchen, attempting to cook dinner. The smell of burnt pasta filled the air. "Oh, Mom," she exclaimed. "I wanted to surprise you, but I think I messed up." I couldn't help but laugh. "It's the thought that counts, sweetie. How about we order pizza instead?" As we sat eating, Kelly cleared her throat. "Mom, can I ask you something?" "Of course, honey. Why do you let Dad treat you the way he does?" The question caught me off guard. "What do you mean?" She set down her slice, looking serious. "The way he criticizes you all the time, especially about your hair. It's not right, Mom." I touched my thinning hair self-consciously. Mike's voice echoed in my head. "You're letting yourself go, Emily. No wonder I have to work so hard to look at you." "It's complicated, Kelly," I said weakly. "No, it's not," she insisted. "You deserve better. You're beautiful, Mom, and smart and kind. Dad's an idiot if he can't see that." Tears welled up in my eyes. When did my daughter become so wise? Just then, the front door slammed. Mike stumbled in, reeking of alcohol. "Where's my dinner?" he demanded. I stood up, anger replacing my earlier sadness. "You said you were working late. We didn't know when you'd be home." He scoffed. "Right, because it's so hard to keep a plate warm. What do you even do all day, Emily?" Kelly jumped to her feet. "She saves lives, Dad. What do you do besides criticize her?" Mike's face darkened. "Watch your tone, young lady. This is between your mother and me." "No," I said firmly, surprising myself. "Kelly's right. I'm tired of your criticism, Mike. I'm tired of feeling like I'm not enough." He laughed bitterly. "Not enough? Look at yourself, Emily. Your hair's falling out, you've gained weight, you're hardly the woman I married." The words stung, but I stood my ground. "And you're hardly the man I thought I married, a man who respects his wife, who contributes to his family." Mike's eyes narrowed. "You want to talk about contributions? Who do you think pays for this roof over your head?" "I do," I shouted, years of frustration pouring out. "I pay the mortgage, the bills, Kelly's tuition. What do you contribute besides empty promises and cruel words?" The silence that followed was deafening. Mike stared at me, shock and anger warring on his face. Kelly looked between us, worry etched in her features. Finally, Mike spoke, his voice low and dangerous. "If that's how you feel, maybe I should just leave." My heart pounded, but I held firm. "Maybe you should." He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. As the sound echoed through the house, I realized with startling clarity that our marriage was beyond repair. And for the first time in years, I felt a glimmer of hope for the future. The morning sun streamed through the kitchen window as I sipped my coffee, lost in thought. It had been 3 days since Mike stormed out, and the house felt eerily quiet without his constant criticism. Kelly shuffled in, her eyes puffy from lack of sleep. "Any word from Dad?" I shook my head. "Nothing. But don't worry, honey. We'll be okay." She nodded, then hesitated. "Mom, there's something I need to tell you about Dad." My heart sank. "What is it?" Kelly took a deep breath. "Remember when I told you I saw him at the coffee shop? Well, I didn't tell you everything. He was with a woman, young, brunette, and they were kissing." The mug slipped from my hand, shattering on the floor. Hot coffee splashed my legs, but I barely felt it. "Are you sure?" Kelly nodded, tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry, Mom. I should have told you sooner." I hugged her tightly, my mind reeling. "It's not your fault, sweetie. Thank you for telling me." After Kelly left for school, I sat at the kitchen table, staring at Mike's number on my phone. My finger hovered over the call button, but I couldn't bring myself to press it. Instead, I dialed another number. "Ace Investigations, how can I help you?" An hour later, I sat across from Jack Reeves, a private investigator with kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. "So, Mrs. Roberts, you suspect your husband is having an affair?" I nodded, twisting my wedding ring. "I need to know for sure. Can you help me?" Jack leaned forward. "We'll get to the bottom of this, ma'am. But I have to warn you. Are you prepared for what we might find? Was I? The thought of concrete proof made my stomach churn. But I squared my shoulders and met his gaze. Yes, I need the truth. Over the next week, I threw myself into work, trying to ignore the gnawing anxiety. Jack called with updates, each one chipping away at my hope. Mike's late nights weren't at the mall. His work trips were to a nearby hotel. Finally, Jack asked me to meet him at a cafe downtown. As I approached, I saw him sitting at an outdoor table, a thick envelope in front of him. "Mrs. Roberts," he said gently, "I have the evidence you asked for." With trembling hands, I opened the envelope. Inside were photos, dozens of them. Mike with a young brunette, holding hands, kissing, entering a hotel. My vision blurred as I flipped through them. "I'm sorry," Jack said softly. I nodded, unable to speak. As I gathered the photos, a familiar figure caught my eye. I froze, my blood running cold. "Mrs. Roberts, are you all right?" I held up one of the photos, my voice barely a whisper. "I know her." Jack leaned in. "The woman your husband's with." "Yes," I said, anger replacing shock. "It's Linda, Mike's mother." Jack's eyes widened. "His mother?" I shook my head, memories flooding back. Not his biological mother, his stepmother. She married Mike's father when Mike was in his 20s. She's only a few years older than him. The pieces started falling into place. Linda's hostility towards me, the knowing looks between her and Mike at family gatherings. How could I have been so blind? "Mrs. Roberts," Jack said gently, "what do you want to do now?" I stood up, a strange calm settling over me. "Now, I want a divorce." As I walked home, my phone buzzed. A text from Mike. "We need to talk. I'm coming home tonight." I stared at the screen, a mix of emotions swirling inside me. Part of me wanted to confront him, to scream and demand answers. But another part, a stronger part, knew it was time to take control of my life. I typed a reply, "Don't bother. I know about Linda. Your things will be on the porch. Don't come inside." My finger hovered over the send button. This was it, the point of no return. Taking a deep breath, I pressed send and watched as my message delivered, signaling the end of my marriage and the beginning of a new chapter in my life. As I walked up to my house, I saw Kelly waiting on the porch, concern etched on her face. I realized then that while one chapter was ending, the most important one, my life with my daughter, was still being written. And this time, I would make sure it had a happier ending. The weight of the manila envelope felt like a ton of bricks in my hands as I paced the living room. Inside were the divorce papers I had drawn up, a decision that had taken every ounce of courage I possessed. Kelly watched me from the couch, her eyes filled with a mix of concern and support. "Are you sure about this, Mom?" she asked softly. I paused, meeting her gaze. "I have to be, honey. We deserve better than this." The sound of a car pulling into the driveway made my heart race. Mike was home. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the confrontation to come. "Kelly, why don't you go to your room?" I suggested, not wanting her to witness what was about to unfold. She hesitated, then nodded, giving me a quick hug before disappearing upstairs. The front door opened, and Mike stumbled in, reeking of alcohol. "Emily?" he called out, his words slurring slightly. "Where's my dinner?" I stepped into the hallway, the envelope clutched to my chest like a shield. "We need to talk, Mike." He squinted at me, then at the envelope. "What's that?" Without a word, I handed it to him. He fumbled with the clasp, pulling out the papers. As his eyes scanned the first page, his face contorted from confusion to shock, then anger. "Divorce papers," he spat. "What the hell is this?" "It's exactly what it looks like," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "I want a divorce." Mike laughed bitterly. "You can't be serious, after everything I've done for you?" "Everything you've done?" I echoed, disbelief coloring my tone. "You mean the lies, the affairs, the constant criticism?" His eyes narrowed. "Affairs? What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone, bringing up the photos the private investigator had sent me. "I know about Linda, Mike. Your stepmother? Really?" The color drained from his face as I showed him the evidence. For a moment, he looked like he might crumple, but then his expression hardened. "You had me followed?" he growled. "You invaded my privacy?" "Don't you dare turn this around on me," I shot back. "You've been cheating on me with your stepmother. You've made me feel worthless for years. It ends now." Mike's fist slammed against the wall, making me flinch. "You can't do this to me, Emily. I was going to leave you after retirement, take my pension, and start over. You're ruining everything." His words hit me like a slap in the face. You were planning to leave me? After all these years? He sneered. Look at you. Your hair's falling out. You've let yourself go. Did you really think I'd stick around forever? Something snapped inside me. Years of pent-up anger and hurt came pouring out. I've supported us for years while you jumped from job to job. I've raised our daughter, paid our bills, and put up with your abuse. No more, Mike. It's over. You'll regret this. He snarled, crumpling the divorce papers in his fist. I'll make sure you don't get a penny. I stood my ground, meeting his gaze. Try it. I have evidence of your affair, your financial negligence. Do you really want to take this to court? For a moment, fear flashed in his eyes. Then, without another word, he stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I sank to the floor, my legs giving out as the adrenaline faded. Kelly appeared at the top of the stairs, tears in her eyes. Mom? She called softly. Are you okay? I looked up at her, managing a small smile. I will be, honey. We both will be. As Kelly came down to sit beside me, I realized that this wasn't just the end of my marriage. It was the beginning of a new chapter for both of us, one where we wouldn't let anyone make us feel small ever again. What happens now? Kelly asked, leaning her head on my shoulder. I wrapped my arm around her, feeling a newfound strength coursing through me. Now, we rebuild. Together. The shrill ring of my phone jolted me awake. Squinting at the clock, I saw it was barely 5 a.m. My heart raced as I answered, Hello? Emily. It's Carol, your mother-in-law. Her voice was tight with worry. Mike's here. He's not in a good state. I sat up, fully alert now. What do you mean? He's drunk, ranting about divorce papers and how you're trying to ruin him. Emily, what's going on? I took a deep breath, steeling myself. Carol, I'm sorry you're caught in the middle of this. Mike's been having an affair with Linda. The silence on the other end was deafening. Finally, Carol spoke, her voice barely a whisper. Linda? His stepmother? Yes, I confirmed, the word tasting bitter on my tongue. I have proof. I'm filing for divorce. Carol's sharp intake of breath was audible. Oh, Emily, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, I assured her. This isn't your fault. He wants to talk to you, Carol said suddenly. He's demanding it. Should I put him on? My instinct was to refuse, but something made me hesitate. Okay, I heard myself say. Mike's voice came through, slurred and angry. Emily, you can't do this to me. I'll fight you every step of the way. Mike, it's over, I said firmly. We both know it. You think you can just throw me away? He snarled. After everything? I made you who you are. His words hit me like a physical blow. For a moment I was that insecure young woman again, desperate for his approval. But then I thought of Kelly, of the strength I'd found in standing up to him. No, Mike, I said, my voice steady. I made myself who I am, despite you, not because of you. He laughed bitterly. You're nothing without me, Emily. Your thinning hair, I cut him off. Goodbye, Mike. Don't call again unless it's through our lawyers. I ended the call, my hands shaking. As I set the phone down, I caught sight of my reflection in the mirror. My hair, the source of so much of Mike's criticism, seemed to mock me. Without thinking, I grabbed a pair of scissors from my dresser. Strand by strand, I began to cut. With each snip, I felt a weight lifting. By the time Kelly found me, tear-streaked and surrounded by fallen hair, I felt lighter than I had in years. Mom? Kelly's voice was filled with concern. What happened? I turned to her, managing a small smile. I'm taking control, honey. No more letting your father's words define me. Kelly's eyes widened, then softened with understanding. She grabbed another pair of scissors. Let me help you even it out. As we worked together, I filled Kelly in on Mike's call. Her jaw clenched with anger, but she remained focused on the task at hand. You know, she said, as she trimmed the back of my hair, Aunt Sarah went through something similar with her ex. She said the hardest part was facing everyone after. I hadn't thought about that. The idea of facing our friends, our extended family, filled me with dread. But then I caught sight of my new reflection, shorter hair, tear-stained cheeks, but eyes bright with determination. We'll face them together, I said, squeezing Kelly's hand. Just then, my phone buzzed with a text. It was from Linda. We need to talk. Meet me at the cafe on 5th at noon. My stomach churned. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to cut all ties with that part of my life. But another part, the part that had found the strength to stand up to Mike, knew this was a conversation I needed to have. I showed Kelly the text. What do you think? She studied it for a moment, then looked at me with a mix of concern and pride. "I think you should go, Mom. You deserve answers." I nodded, feeling a strange calm settle over me. This meeting with Linda could go 1,000 different ways, but for the first time in years, I felt ready to face whatever came my way. As I got ready to leave, I caught my reflection one last time. The woman staring back at me wasn't perfect. Her hair was uneven, her eyes tired, but I was strong. But she was ready. I was ready. The cafe bustled with the lunch crowd as I sat across from Linda, my soon-to-be ex-mother-in-law, and the woman who'd been having an affair with my husband. The irony wasn't lost on me. "Emily," Linda began, her voice low, "I know you must hate me." I stared at her, my emotions a tangled mess. "Hate is too simple a word for what I feel, Linda." She nodded, looking down at her untouched coffee. "I understand, but there's something you need to know about Mike, something that might affect your divorce settlement." My guard went up immediately. "What are you talking about?" Linda took a deep breath. "Mike's in debt, serious debt. He's been gambling, Emily, for years." The world seemed to tilt on its axis. "Gambling? But how? Where did he get the money?" "He's been dipping into his retirement fund," Linda explained, her face grim. "And he took out a second mortgage on your house without telling you." My mind reeled. Our house, the home where I'd raised Kelly, where I'd poured my heart and soul, was at risk. How much? I managed to ask. Linda slid a piece of paper across the table. The number written on it made my blood run cold. "This can't be right," I whispered. "I'm afraid it is," Linda said softly. "Emily, I'm so sorry for everything. The affair, keeping this from you. I thought I loved him, but Mike, he's not the man either of us thought he was." I barely heard her apology, my mind racing with the implications. If this was true, the divorce settlement I'd been counting on, the fresh start I'd been planning for Kelly and me, was in jeopardy. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a text from my lawyer. "Emily, we need to talk. New information has come to light about Mike's finances. Call me ASAP." I stood up abruptly, nearly knocking over my chair. "I have to go." Linda reached out, grabbing my wrist. "Emily, wait, there's more." I paused, dreading what else she could possibly tell me. "Mike, he's planning to contest the divorce. He's going to claim you were emotionally abusive, that you drove him to the affair. He's going to try to take everything, Emily." The room spun around me. I yanked my arm free and stumbled out of the cafe, gasping for air. On the sidewalk, I fumbled with my phone, dialing my lawyer with shaking hands. As it rang, I caught sight of my reflection in a store window. My new, shorter haircut, a symbol of my newfound strength, seemed to mock me now. "Emily?" My lawyer's voice came through. "I'm glad you called. We need to discuss." "I know," I cut him off. "I just found out about the debt, the gambling, all of it. What do we do?" He sighed heavily. "It's not good, Emily. Mike's financial situation complicates things significantly, and if he contests the divorce as he's threatening to..." "He can't win," I said, my voice rising with panic. "He can't take everything. I have proof of the affair." "Infidelity doesn't carry as much weight as you might think in court," he explained gently, "and if he can make a case for emotional abuse..." I leaned against the building, feeling like the ground was crumbling beneath my feet. Everything I'd fought for, the future I'd envisioned for Kelly and me, was slipping away. Just then, I saw Mike across the street, emerging from a pawn shop. Our eyes met, and a slow, cruel smile spread across his face. He knew he had the upper hand. In that moment, something inside me snapped. The fear and panic gave way to a white-hot rage. I'd let Mike control me for too long, let him make me feel small and worthless. No more. "Emily?" My lawyer's voice sounded distant. "Are you still there? What do you want to do?" I watched Mike saunter away, his arrogance palpable even from a distance. My jaw clenched, determination flooding through me. "Fight," I said, my voice steel. "We fight with everything we've got. I won't let him win. Not this time." As I ended the call, I knew the real battle was just beginning. But for the first time since this nightmare started, I felt truly ready. Mike might think he held all the cards, but he was about to learn that he'd underestimated me for the last time. The bridal shop's bell chimed as Kelly twirled in her wedding gown, her face radiant with joy. My heart swelled with pride and love, momentarily pushing aside the storm of the ongoing divorce battle. "Mom, what do you think?" Kelly asked, her eyes sparkling. I blinked back tears. "You look absolutely beautiful, sweetheart." As Kelly changed back into her regular clothes, my phone buzzed. It was my lawyer. With trembling fingers, I answered. "Emily, we've hit a snag," he said, his voice grave. "Mike's lawyer is pushing for a larger share of your assets, citing your emotional abuse as grounds for compensation." My stomach dropped. "But that's ridiculous. He's the one who—" "I know," my lawyer cut in, "but they're presenting a compelling case. We need to consider settling, Emily. The longer this drags on, the more you stand to lose." I ended the call, feeling numb. Kelly emerged from the dressing room, her smile fading as she saw my expression. "Mom, what's wrong?" I forced a smile. "Nothing, honey, just some legal stuff." Kelly's eyes narrowed. "Is it Dad? What's he done now?" Before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Mike. "We need to talk, for Kelly's sake." I showed Kelly the message, watching her face cloud over. "You're not going to meet him, are you?" she asked. I sighed. "I think I have to, sweetie, for the sake of ending this nightmare." Kelly grabbed my hand. "Then I'm coming with you." An hour later, we sat across from Mike in a quiet corner of a local diner. He looked haggard, his eyes darting between Kelly and me. "Kelly," he began, his voice hoarse. "I'm so sorry for everything. I want to make things right." Kelly's jaw clenched. "By trying to take everything from Mom? By lying about her in court?" Mike flinched. "It's complicated, honey. Your mother." "Don't you dare," I cut in, my voice low and dangerous. "Don't you dare try to turn her against me." Mike's eyes hardened. "Fine, let's cut to the chase. I want to come to the wedding, Emily. It's my right as her father." Kelly stood up abruptly. "No, absolutely not." "Kelly, please," Mike pleaded. "I know I've made mistakes, but—" "Mistakes?" Kelly's voice rose. "You cheated on Mom with Linda. You gambled away our future. You're trying to destroy Mom in court. Those aren't mistakes, Dad. Those are choices." Mike's face reddened. "Now listen here." "No, you listen," I interjected, finding strength in Kelly's words. "You've made your choices, Mike. Now live with them. You're not coming to the wedding. You're not getting more than you deserve in the divorce, and you're certainly not going to bully us anymore." Mike's hand slammed on the table. "You can't do this to me. I'll fight you every step of the way." "You'll what?" Kelly challenged. "Tell more lies, gamble away more money. Face it, Dad, you've lost, not just the divorce, but us." With that, Kelly stormed out of the diner. I stood to follow her, but Mike grabbed my arm. "Emily, please," he begged, his voice breaking. "Don't let it end like this. We can start over, be a family again." For a moment, I saw a flicker of the man I'd once loved. But then I remembered the years of criticism, the affair, the lies. I gently removed his hand. "Goodbye, Mike," I said softly. "I hope you find peace." As I walked out of the diner, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The battle wasn't over. There were still legal hurdles to overcome, but for the first time, I truly believed I would win. Outside, I found Kelly leaning against my car, tears streaming down her face. I pulled her into a tight hug. "I'm so proud of you," I whispered. Kelly pulled back, wiping her eyes. "I'm proud of us, Mom. We're going to be okay, aren't we?" I nodded, a genuine smile spreading across my face. "Yes, sweetheart, we're going to be more than okay." As we drove home, I realized that this wasn't just about winning the divorce or outsmarting Mike. It was about reclaiming our lives, our happiness. And with Kelly by my side, I knew we could face anything that came our way. The road ahead might be challenging, but for the first time in years, I was excited to see where it would lead us. The gentle breeze carried the scent of roses as I stood in the garden, watching Kelly and her new husband, James, share their first dance as a married couple. The soft melody of their chosen song drifted through the air, and I found myself swaying slightly, a contented smile on my face. It had been a year since the divorce was finalized, a year of rebuilding and rediscovering myself. The legal battle had been brutal, but in the end, truth prevailed. Mike's lies unraveled in court, and his attempts to paint me as the villain backfired spectacularly. The judge saw through his deceit, and I walked away with a fair settlement and my dignity intact. As the dance ended, Kelly caught my eye and beckoned me over. I made my way through the crowd of well-wishers, accepting hugs and congratulations along the way. "Mom," Kelly beamed, pulling me into a tight embrace. "Can you believe it? I'm married." I laughed, blinking back tears of joy. "I can, sweetheart. You and James are perfect for each other." James grinned, wrapping an arm around Kelly's waist. "We have something for you, Emily," he said, reaching into his pocket. Kelly's eyes sparkled with excitement as James pulled out a small, beautifully wrapped package. "Go on, Mom, open it." With trembling fingers, I unwrapped the gift. Inside was a stunning silk scarf, its vibrant colors shimmering in the late afternoon sun. "It's beautiful," I breathed, running my fingers over the soft fabric. Kelly stepped forward, gently taking the scarf and draping it around my shoulders. "We wanted you to have something special," she said softly. "Something to remind you how beautiful and strong you are." I touched the scarf, feeling a lump form in my throat. For so long, I had let Mike's cruel words about my thinning hair define me. But now, surrounded by love and acceptance, I realized how far I'd come. "Thank you," I whispered, pulling them both into a hug. "This means more than you know." As the reception continued, I found myself by the garden's edge, lost in thought. The setting sun cast a warm glow over the festivities, and I couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought me here. "Penny for your thoughts?" a familiar voice asked. I turned to see Carol, my former mother-in-law, standing beside me. Our relationship had been strained during the divorce, but we'd found our way back to each other in the months that followed. "Just thinking about how much has changed," I replied honestly. Carol nodded, her eyes kind. "You've come so far, Emily. I hope you know how proud we all are of you." I smiled, touching the scarf around my neck. "I'm proud of myself, too. For the first time in years, I feel free." As if on cue, the band struck up a lively tune. Carol grinned, holding out her hand. "Care to dance?" Laughing, I took her hand and let her lead me to the dance floor. As we twirled and swayed, I caught sight of Kelly and James, their faces alight with love and joy. My heart swelled with hope for their future, a future free from the pain and doubt that had clouded my own marriage. Later, as the night wound down and guests began to depart, Kelly found me once more. "Mom," she said, her voice soft and serious, "I just wanted to say thank you for everything, for showing me what real strength looks like." I cupped her face in my hands, overwhelmed with love for this incredible young woman. "Oh, Kelly, you've been my strength through all of this. I couldn't have done it without you." As we embraced, I realized that this wasn't just Kelly's new beginning. It was mine, too. The road ahead was full of possibilities, and for the first time in years, I was excited to explore them. The last of the guests departed, leaving just our closest family and friends. As we gathered to see Kelly and James off on their honeymoon, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. The scarf around my neck fluttered in the breeze, a reminder of the love and support that surrounded me. Looking up at the star-filled sky, I made a silent wish for Kelly's marriage, for love, respect, and the strength to weather any storm. And as I watched the newlyweds drive away, I knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, stronger and more resilient than ever before. The chapter of my life with Mike had closed, but a new one was just beginning. And this time, I was the author of my own story.